It is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. We need to speak peace. We are right in the middle of our presidential term. We should not be talking about tribes. We are now saying the people who are elected are now realigning. Yesterday, 281 out of the possible 347, is it 347? I plus about 330 or 340 representatives voted for a motion. We all agreed, yes, it is good, but it was not worthy the merits. But the heckling that we saw in Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, was out of the world. Na leo ningependa kuwakumbusha kwamba the Constitution of Kenya, mimi si msomi wa Constitution, but I know this. Kuna kitu inaitwa separation of powers. Ya kwamba there is the executive, there is the judiciary, there is the legislature. These three work together independently. Yesterday, we saw the hand of the executive inside the clothes of the Parliament. Today in the morning, in Senate, our leaders are ready to do whatever to consolidate their powers. We should not buy into their catastrophic games. That's what I'll say on my junction. Our leaders should not you should not buy into all this. We are getting charged. Even when you look at our timeline, Twitter used to be chaotic on Sundays. Bring back Sunday Twitter. Right there, sa ukiandika kitu yote Twitter, you get insulted. Utatukanwa hata na mamako, utaonyeshwa mambo mbaya. Twitter has been, and you know, the worst part is, we keep on hating on each other without solutions. We are so ready to jump into conclusions, to jump into hating. And you know, the worst part about remembering that your tribe is that you forget when all this is said and done, the Kenya Revenue Authority only recognizes a percentage of your salary. And right now, it is more than 30% of your salary. Where is your money going? To Social Health Insurance Fund, which 104 billion shillings was put up to set up the system, which has already failed in 7 days. That is where your anger should be. But you'd rather get angry because somebody somewhere is said to be a mole. Where should be your anger? Your anger should be that right now you are paying taxes to pay people to sell your airport so that you can only use airports made by foreigners who you have known to have abused you with your mother every day when you work. Why do you use them as the marking scheme? And you know the funny part about having media and all of us having social media, when you look at the Rwandese genocide, the media was involved. When you look at the 2007 election violence, the media was involved. When you look at right now, when we are impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, the media has gone to Madeira, the media has gone to Nyeri, and they are making sure that they are using the most fire of words against President Ruto and the people. It is not about where that guy comes from at the end of it all. And in 2007, when Ocampo came out with a list, there were politicians, there was the police, and there was Joshua Sang, who was one of the media. And that is why, by me having this media space, it gives me so much responsibility of what we disseminate through these spaces, because we have the powers to burn this country. We have the powers to unite this country. It's a choice. And it's up to us, our people, to love each other. Every time I open this space, I don't know who is coming to my space. I have never said this is a Kikuyu space. I have never said this is a somebody's space. I'm not saying it is a bad space. But if you use tribe to separate, it is wrong. We all come from somewhere. You celebrate your culture. Mwacha mila ni mtumwa. Lakini mwenye anatumia mila zake kuumiza wengine, yeye ndiye master. I leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is my junction today.
You are listening to...
You lost it all, PP. You lost it all because you left one thing out. Justice. The spirit of the conversation. You brought everything out about the letter and who does what and does what. And then you are like, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with the spirit or the letter of what is brought out that we don't want to ban this country? How then do we combat the Rutoism that is really creeping in to destroy what we are as a people? So even as the impeachment goes on, it's important for us to think and analyze and ask ourselves, is this a situation where we are losing ourselves to what is prescribed in law and all this, but the spirit of Rutoism is creeping in to destroy you and me? So as much as we analyze this game has shifted. PP, this game has shifted. DK, this game has shifted. This is about what spirit are we inviting to the Kenyan conversation about governance. Why? It's because the spirit of who dominates you, who can change your constitution, who can destroy your constitution, it is where we are. So yes, I agree with you. Your space has been extremely accommodative to some of us who are on the other end on this. But on this one, I am sorry, I'm going to fight to the bitter end to say that this impeachment is ill-advised, ill-informed, evil-designed. And
for me, I'm not even against it, I'm not even against, and my opinion today has nothing to do with that issue of whether the impeachment is good or bad, Bwana Justice. So umeamkia tu na mangumi za shingo. My point today is, let us be peaceful towards Obeds. Wacha kwanza compose.
Okay, let me say this.
Obeds, just wait. Obeds, just wait a minute. I'm actually coming to you, but I need to say something. And I'm not in defense of Pipita, but I'm just going to say it right now. Just as you may have some point you've said, but please, guys, let us just have some decorum at some point. You cannot just walk into as much as you have something to say, everybody has something that is burning in their hearts that they would like to also mention. When you walk into a conversation and you simply just take on the mic because you have something to say, I think it's a bit disrespectful and uncalled for. So please, tafadhali, appreciate the fact that there is also some other people who have their hands up and are also waiting to speak and are also pressed just like you. And Justice, that one is to you because I don't think I appreciate that personally. I don't like being in
apologies. I'll drop down to listening. I apologize. PP, I apologize. I honestly apologize.
It's okay,
bro. Welcome back.
It's all good. It's all good. Obeds. DK, relax.
I appreciate what the name is. Fine.
Thank you, PP. Thank you, PP. And for me, you have very valid argument. And I think it is important that we do appreciate as a people. Sorry if you hear background noise, I'm on the road. Uh, we need to appreciate that we have failed ourselves in so many ways and facets. We do not deal with the issues as they are. We love drama and theatrics. The political class know this too well. And so what do? They give us drama, divert our attention, we bite on it, they do what they want to do. Impeachment, whatever it is that they are doing, it is their business. It's a fight amongst the political class. And that's what it should be, and it should remain. Let us keep our eyes on what is important. 38% of people who are working goes to the government in terms of taxes. Are we getting value for that? I don't think so. That's what we should be demanding. We shouldn't be looking at each other from a tribal angle. We are ethnic, as you say. By nature, people have to identify. That's why you're called Pipi or you're called Anthony. That's why there's DK and there's Jason. Why? People have to come from somewhere. But that shouldn't make you feel bigger or better than other people. What is important? As a people, we need to ask ourselves what we have agreed to be led by. The social contract we signed ourselves with the political class, is it working? I don't think it is at the moment. What do we need to do? We probably need to sit and rework on that. However, while we do that, let us just know that it's not going to be straightforward or easy, because there is no politician who's just going to let you get into politics easily, or fight and take it away from them. They'll find means and ways to try and fight back. Remember, and maybe you see something very nice, especially when you're into about the historical context of how we ended up here. Part of the problem we have today in terms of the political coalitions is a creation of the man that we love and talk about the most, Mwai Kibaki. He stole an election in 2007, and he had to find a way to accommodate the people he stole from. So we have allowed bad manners, and we've also allowed theatrics to dominate what are essential and cloud what is important from us. Do we need to demand, and we must have better education, better health, and ensure that people can feed themselves? Once these things are taken care of, people will have their own houses as they want. So government doesn't need to get in the business of, houses. That's why they're stealing from us and they cannot even account for that money. What we need to do? Demand for the basic things so that after that, everybody else is in a position where they can make decisions without thinking about their stomach. Currently, you're impoverished. The political class will look like they are saviors when they bring you 2,000 shillings for a bursary. And I sit here today and I worry for us because a lot of us are looking at Morara, somebody saying he's been paid. Somebody was saying KOT Sonko is also what. Those are nonsensical. Everybody contribute in your own capacity, make a positive difference in your own space and grow that. And so PP, good effort. Let's not give up. Keep fighting. Let's also walk the talk. It's one thing to talk, it's another thing to do. We must, if it's money required to support what has to be done, we must put ourselves in there. If you need to give yourself physically and individually or give your skill, let us all put hands on deck and make a difference. That is the only way we're going to liberate this country. And remember, it's not going to be easy or straightforward. The political class are going to fight back. That's why today you would see they have coalesced because they are feeling these people want to take away what you already have. Let's not stop. Keep fighting. But we must do this within the confines of the law. We have a good constitution. It gives us what we need. The political class will always try to find a way to hang together, to fight back. But we must remember, it is a concerted effort. It's going to take time. And remember, if you plant a tree today, you might not enjoy the shade. But nonetheless, you must plant a tree. Thank you, people.
Thank you, Obed. Asante sana. I'll go to the hands that are up. I'll go to them in this order. I'll go to Luca, who has had his hand up for a minute. I'll go to Luca, then Juza, and then I'll go to Justice before we listen to the main man himself, Bona Western Shilao. Western, just be patient with me. I've been waiting for this moment. I'm introducing you into this moment before 7. Pipi is not stealing this one from me. Luca, Karibu, and please remember, for everyone who's listening to us, Home Run with Pipi is always supported by you. So if you like what you're doing here, tip Jacob Aleju 0721-948-229 to support kwele kazi mzuri tunafanya hapa. Luca, maybe give us your rebuttal and then we'll go to Juza.
Okay, shalom, brothers and sisters. I hope you guys are fine. Yeah, I spoke earlier, and I thought it's nice that I jump in again and add something little. So wale wenye mjapewa chance, please msikasirike that mbona this guy is given 2 chances atago na sisi hatujaongea. Now, sorry, I know we're talking about who's my leader, but I just wanted to go back and speak something little about William Ruto. I think the thing we fail to understand is that it's not that William Ruto is not someone who is not wise. The thing is, this guy is smart and he is a step ahead of us. But he pretends that we are on the same level with him. Okay? So this guy, he has set down his agenda. So I don't know what his agenda is, but from the activities that he's been doing, I think this guy has somehow has a liking for money and power because of the things that have been happening all along. So he has set down this agenda and is working towards it. Okay? So that is why he's been able to, make Parliament his praise and worship. That's why he's been able to, make sure that he has Parliament at the grasp of his hand. Then from there now they are achieving his agenda. That's why this guy, even the guys that he sent to Parliament to be vetted as the CSs, their guys is able to, manipulate and, achieve his agenda through them. So, as we are trying to set our agenda as well, which is the best for this country, we have to know what we are dealing with. It's like, do you guys watch wrestling? The script is just written ishaandikwa kutoka mwanzo hadi mwisho. That's why you see when those guys, they come into the ring, they abuse each other. There's wakiwa kwa ring, then one, they start a fight. As they continue fight, then unaona mmoja amelemewa, another one runs from up there kuja ku rescue this guy. Na sisi wengine tuko hapo tunasherehekea, tunasema yeah. But at the end of the day, those guys are achieving their agendas. So this is what William Ruto is doing. And the sad thing is, as the citizens, you and me, kuna wengine hawajaelewa that this is what is going on. This is where we need a lot of civic education. I keep insisting, we need a lot of civic education. Civic education, ifike huko mashinani, especially those guys down in the villages, they need a lot of civic education. Kuna watu who don't even know that they are paying taxes. These are the people that we need to tell them that, you know what, hata ukinunua chumvi, ushalipa taxes. And this is how it affects you. So this is what we really need to do. Now coming to this idea of who is my leader, nadhani at this moment tusijiweke sana to the issue of the leaders. If we can first concentrate on civic education, I think we change first the people through civic education, then now we move to the agenda of the leaders. I think I might be wrong, but I think that might be the way that we can take this fight. Yeah, thanks.
I
yield my mic.
Thank you, Luca. Before we go to Juza, I just have to throw in a curveball. about this civic education thing, yeah. So we always talk about civic education. We want to do civic education in twende mashinani. Sir, how did we get people to go out on 25th of June, or on 18th of June, or on Nani? We used digital media. Why don't we create posters educating people? Why don't we create videos educating people? Hapo ndio civic education inaanza donge ama ni aje DK?
Exactly. Hata kuna there's someone that we are having there's someone I'm having a discussion with regards to they're setting up an organization. They're trying to do something that they're putting up, and they were asking me as a communications person, story na mashinani, watu wanasema simu haziko ta. Venye tu umesema pipi, finance bill ilifikia
what do you mean simu haziko mashinani na kuna simu za M-Kopa huko Ocha? Umeenda Ocha siku hizi one
Buda ulikuwa kwa hiyo conversation nikimuongelesha asubuhi, because nilimuuliza nilikuwa shags like a couple of weeks ago. Bro, acha nikuambie, saizi hii story tunajidanganya huko ati simu za smartphone ati hazijafika Gishagi is a lie. Those people are walking around with smartphones all over. That means today, myself, in my expertise of knowing how to carry out targeted marketing promotions that will go specifically to young men and women seated in a village in Mukoroine and other areas, it means I can be able to create one small write-up that continues the conversation of what is this we are saying, the civic education thing. Because the truth is this, yes, true, tuna need kuenda mashinani na lazima watu watoke waende, but how many times are we going to be able to go to mashinani? Maybe few physically, but digital inaweza tufikisha huko. Wacha nisimamia hapo, nimeona nitaenda design nyingine. Juza, habari ya jioni.
Salama sana, labda yako na everyone in the space.
Tuko salama tuongeleshe.
Thank you very much. Now yangu, I think tumeanza from a very wrong premise. The question is, who is your leader? And mimi personally, sitafuti a leader. I don't have a leader. I don't want to be led. Mimi natafuta a representative. These guys are elected representatives. They're not our leaders. A leader nika a general who leads soldiers. Leaders are chosen. And leaders don't have to represent your interests. They can choose an interest for you. So a CEO is a leader. You don't have a choice in the decisions a CEO makes. No. They're chosen by the board. They're not there to represent your interests. So kama hiyo ndio format yenye tunataka, then okay. But if we're looking for elected representatives, then we need to change our mindset kabisa. Mimi sitaki mtu akijiita leader for me immediately. We start from a point of disagreement, because that means they can do something that I didn't elect them to do, because the subject version of a leader is a follower. A leader doesn't get a citizen. We're citizens. We're not followers. We're citizens. Now citizens elect representatives. Now, just to give an example, someone like Morara, for example, that's a leader, because they didn't choose him for the Inject party. They created it, nini. But if we were to elect him to a representative seat, MP, governor, or whatever, he changes from a leader to a representative, which means ako hapo ku represent our interests, and we can na our values, unaona, na our priorities, basically. Now, kwangu, that's a very significant difference, because Ruto come from a mindset of leading us, and we are followers. That's why he can dictate a path for us. Na anashinda akisema how he's creating a vision for us. No. He keeps saying that he's creating a vision for a better Kenya. Doesn't matter if it represents our values or not, or if it represents our reality. No, he wants to create a vision for us. That's a very different thing from representing our day-to-day interests. Leo niko na njaa. I don't need an airport. for example. But yeye hajali about you because he is there to implement his vision of how he wants our lives to be. So kwangu, that's a very significant difference. I don't know if there's any disagreement or agreement, which is okay. I think that's why these spaces are there, for there to be very good agreement or disagreement and conversations. So for me, I would want as many people as possible to change the mindset to representatives so that we don't keep looking for one person. You know, we're keeping looking for mtu mwenye ati akona criteria. He's not a sellout, hajanunuliwa, hajafanywa nini, because we're looking for a Moses. Unaona, we're looking for a Moses to lead us to Canaan. Very wrong mindset. That does not exist. Unaona, even in the most advanced economies. Saizi in the UK, the Prime Minister is arresting people for social media posts. In the UK, unaona, the UK that gave us the UK of giving the world constitutions. You know that's where it started. The UK of giving the world freedoms and rights and civic rights and whatnot. That UK, people are being arrested for social media posts. Unaona, for saying the wrong thing. Yeah? So let's not think that there are people who care about us, amanini, and start thinking of ourselves as active partners in this process. Active partners with the people we put on that seat to represent our interests. Unaona? So that akisonga kidogo out of alignment, we can be able to correct and adjust. Unaona? But in this fight, we will keep facing problems with watu kama kina Morara and nini, and them quitting and then coming back because we are looking for a Moses, and Moseses in democracies do not exist. Moseses don't exist in a model like China, where you look for a supreme leader to lead you into some good future. No. But now, all of us here are citizens, and all of us are capable of taking these seats. Tunafaa kuanza from that position. In fact, if 2 million people arose today and decided they want to pursue these seats, I would be very happy, because then tutaanza more serious conversations about how to take over the whole system. But now we're looking for one person to lead us into Canaan, as if there aren't 1,600 seats to occupy. Unaona, juzi tuliangushwa na a parliament of 300 something people. Unaona, a parliament of 300 something people, which means we need 300 people minimum to occupy these seats. Unaona, and they need to come from somewhere. Na ni sisi, si watu wengine. So, that is my humble submission. It's interesting to hear all you speak. Thank you very much.
Joseph, before you go, I'm going to pose a question to you, and I'd like you to answer it in just 30 seconds, and then after that, I'll go to justice for all. Yeah? Because there's one point you said up there when you were starting off in terms of elected representatives versus what I would call political leaders. Okay. So the question I wanted to ask you is, in your view, what qualities are essential for an elected representative to effectively serve his role to serve his people beyond the role of also being a political leader? Is my question clear?
Yes. Kwangu, an elected representative, a political leader, wacha tuzite as synonyms, they only need to share one thing. They only need to share the values you share, period. Hizo vitu zingine, kwangu ni non-essentials. If they share, for example, if I believe in the constitution, I believe in economic freedom, I believe in sama nini and character, they only need to share those things for them to earn my vote. Hizo zingine, it's a matter of agreement, disagreement. But kwangu, that's the basic.
Asante. Thank you very much, Jose, and that's a very interesting line of thought. Justice for all. Sorry for ruffling feathers, kidogo. My apologies for that. Please talk to us. Good evening. Justice for all. Okay, I'll go to.
No, I can try to give a quick. Sorry, DK, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, a very a good one, and I do appreciate the submissions from every. This is robust and excellent communication. Did Obed's drop? I wanted to reference something to what Obed spoke, but he is dropped. That's fine. But I also want to appreciate the fact that we are moving this into a conversation about who is your leader. But I dismiss the question to begin with by asking that I think the problem right now is not about who is your leader, is about what movement you subscribe to, or what spirit is behind the leader that you are trying to bring on board. So why I do that, DK and PP, is because the threat right now that we are facing as a country is not about who is the leader, is about what philosophy, what movement, what spirit this person is moving with. What I've been calling the Rutoism, it's a spirit thing, it's a movement thing. It's not about a person. It's about people who espouse and ascribe that your power is galvanized and brought together based on how much influence you have in the society, based on the ill-earned wealth. But as we have this conversation moving forward, I can see my bestest friends have their hands up. I want to say this. The best way to have this conversation at DK and PP is for us to have a very fair conversation, which is not influence. PP is not bought, DK is not bought. So, allow me to request, this is a humble request, that we give something. We're not even contributing. We give something to the tip jar. And this is my honest commitment that whatever you give, hata kama unatoa 50, 100, 1,000, 2,000 and everything, that we are going to give in the next, let's say, the next 18 minutes. Because the goal for me today is like, at least to saidia the tip jar and my brother PP to raise at least 50K to keep this moving. Kama hata uko na kitu kidogo tu, I will match that. So it's and itakuwa credited to you. Meaning, kama ukitoa 100, hiyo ni 200 tu that you have given. And it's going to be announced, either DK has given 200. Meaning, you give 100, it's going to be announced DK has given 200. Kama ni CS Mzito, ukitoa 500, so CS Mzito umetoa 1,000. Because I'm going to match every shilling that you are going to contribute to support the movement. Why are we doing this? Just for clarity and for the record. It's because we do not want this space to be influenced by the forces or the powers that be out there to take away our independence of what we are doing. So, kama mtasaidia Western, my little kid over there, if anything you can contribute, it will be matched 100% match. So let's do that. We can extend it to a little bit until we reach 50K for today. Please, it's for the sake of the movement. It cannot go forward without resources. I love you guys and I appreciate the work that we are doing. DK, you can take over from there, but I just wanted to make sure that it's out there. Please, let's share something. Jaribu kidogo tu. God bless.
All right. Thank you very much. And I like what we are doing. You're most appreciated. And without further ado, Kai, Pipita, uko karibu, sijui tunafaa kukuwa na nini na jingo ya ku-welcome on stage.
Ndio hiyo. Acha tumpatie ya huyu jamaa akipigana ngumi. You are listening to. Sio hiyo hapa.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4
Lakini
p.m. to 9
wasted
p.m.
sana bwana. Unamsifu
Ladies and
sana bwana.
gentlemen, boys and girls, kama uko karibu, tafadhali take a seat. Karibia kidogo, we are about to go to a very serious lesson and class right now. I would like to call on Western Shilaho to take a few minutes and talk to us. Western, good evening.
Hi, DK, how are you?
Very fine, yourself?
Keeping well, small, the usual ups and downs of life.
Excellent. Glad to hear from you, bro. Take us through what your thoughts are for our topic today.
Thank you. I'm always grateful for this chance, opportunity, and greetings to fellow compatriots and people of the world. One, I begin with a question. Who is your leader? Yourself. It's yourself. Yourself. You can't start looking for a leader, for somebody to show you direction when you cannot lead yourself. It's that simple. You must first provide leadership to your person. Then you will be in a position to see someone else who has got vision. If you can't provide leadership to yourself, you are adrift. You know, like some of these plants that, splash their seeds in the air and they are just, going by the wind. Or sometimes they're floating on water, going by the water and the waves. So it's yourself, first and foremost. People who can't lead themselves look for heroes. So-and-so is my hero and stuff like that. You find somebody is, describing someone they have never met as their hero. But in their own backyard, their mother has done so much for them. Their father has done so much for them. Their friends done so much for them. But they never regard those people as their heroes because they have got this Messiah complex, this Savior complex. And I'm afraid as a society, Kenya, we are diminished by that mindset. We are ever looking for people to rescue us, even when history shows that there are no such people in our midst. It's about collective responsibility, collegial leadership. Somebody who is at the helm is just the first amongst equals. If something happens to them, somebody else will take over. And progress will be realized. So I think we have to perish that mentality, that thought. Oh, we need a leader, no. That's a self-defeating kind of approach. Secondly, Pipita, I was listening to you and I was impressed because history counts. Any serious society never disregards history. In any serious society, history is one of the principal disciplines in school. History is one of the principal disciplines in school. No child of that serious society ever goes to school without having an idea of where the society they were born in, they are growing up in, is coming from. Because it's by realizing where you are coming from that you are in a position to tell where you're going. As it said, nothing predicts the future with precision like history. And everything else passes except the past. In Kenya, we trivialize history. And even on these spaces, I've heard some of my fellow compatriots pouring a lot of scorn on the historical reading of where we are. No, history doesn't matter. Why are you, itemizing things that happened in the past? Now, when you hear that, you realize that, look, there's a big problem on our hands here. This amnesia, it does not help us. It contributes to the myriad of problems that we wake up to every single day. For instance, Peter, you mentioned the 2002 elections. The 2002 elections were meant to constitute what you'd call the Rubicon. The Rubicon. Those elections were to mark our crossing the Rubicon. When you cross the Rubicon, as a society, as an individual, it's like you've surmounted a history. You know, you've entered a new phase as an individual, as a society. We are parting ways with the politics of political tribalism, politics of impunity, politics of corruption, politics of callousness, politics of torture and violence. We're beginning afresh with these elections. Alas, that was never to be. It was never to be. It was never to be because of something very simple but very basic in interpersonal relations: trust, honesty. The MOU he had signed pre-election with at that time they were called LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, an MOU, a gentleman agreement, gentleman. It was trashed. And I can put it to you, the problems we're encountering now, they can be traced to that, directly to that. The problems, these problems of elections that are contested, these problems where politicians stab one another, these politics where people can come together, form an ethnic alliance, win elections. After elections, they're on each other's throat, can be traced to that simple act of dishonesty. And the Constitution can't cure that. It has not cured, because that challenge of mistrust, of backstabbing, is enduring as we speak now. So, when people say Mwai Kibaki was the best president, I sit back and ask, I must have landed from Jupiter. I don't understand this society. I've landed from Jupiter. Because if you talk about ethnicization of the state, that was the reason as to why these people who are gravitating towards Raila Odinga parted ways with Mwai Kibaki. That was one of the reasons. Lack of inclusivity as far as governance is concerned. If you're talking about elections that so much money is invested in and emotion, but produce nothing but a harvest of thorns, pain, disillusionment, frustrations, and completely crushed ambitions and prospects, can be traced to that 2002 elections. If you're talking about somebody winning elections and thereafter co-opts in his government people who contributed nothing to his victory, in fact, people who ran against him, similar to what we're having now. UDA, under William Ruto, has co-opted ODM or Azimio, whatever you want to call it, into the government. Mwai Kibaki also did that in the wake of the 2005 referendum on a proposed constitution. KANU members of parliament were co-opted into the government. And KANU, at that time, symbolized all that was evil, all that was anti-Kenya, symbolized corruption. Every other thing that we didn't want, Kenyans didn't want, they were co-opted in the government to show up his support that was sagging. From there, that has been the modus operandi. Since then, it has been the case. 2007, if you want to know why is it that you elect this person and then when you wake up the following day, this person is at State House, they're talking some things that you can't relate to. Towards 2007 election, Uhuru Kenyatta was the official leader of the opposition, for those who don't remember that history or who have not read. But he forgot about all that and decided to support Mwai Kibaki. Very, very weird in any given democracy that an opposition leader, somebody who represents the collective called the opposition, can towards elections throw their weight behind the incumbent, somebody of a different political party. But what explained that? These politics that we're not grappling with, Mutietu politics. When push comes to shove, Mutietu politics triumphs. Subnational identity always trumps civic identity, loyalty to this entity called Kenya. That is it. And it was normal. Why? Because his calculation was that I support Mwai Kibaki, and then after Mwai Kibaki is done, he's going to pass over the baton to me. That is our history. So William Ruto, let me put it to you. William Ruto, he's done a lot of obnoxious things, and he continues doing those things as we sit here and discuss dialogue. But William Ruto is not an aberration. He's not an oddity. He's not an outlier. William Ruto is quintessentially a Kenyan. Not just a Kenyan political animal, a Kenyan, a member of the Kenyan society. I'll put it to you like that. But the temptation is to isolate him and say, this person here comes from Mars or comes from Vanuatu. We don't know this person. We don't know this behavior. Where is it coming from? This is not us. Well, that is the temptation. Why? Because we completely black out history. We completely refuse to appreciate where we're coming from and how our history affects our present circumstances and how it's likely to affect our future going forward. Hate, this hate that is now, you go online now, Kikuyu trending, Luo trending, Luya trending, Kalenjin trending. Look, because we personalize things, we do that a lot. As Pipita was putting it, you say something contrary to what everybody else is saying, they insult you, they call you names, they even insult your mother, they insult everybody else. They completely our weakness as a society, fellow compatriots. We don't know how to argue. We don't know how to argue. And because I can't argue with you, I just insult you. Because I can't argue with you, I just say, you're speaking like this because you're an ODM member. Or you're speaking like this because of ethnic group. Because I can't argue with you. I can't bring myself to appreciating the fact that you're different. And that your viewpoint, in as much as it doesn't cohere with mine, actually it could be better than mine. If only I listen to you. We don't do that. How dare your view become better? How can your view become better than mine? It can't be. Mine is right, and mine must prevail. Now, that is stasis. Societies that move, it's usually a matter of give and take. It's usually a matter of compromise. I can't have it all. You have that, I have this, the other person has that. Have you people read National Cohesion and Integration Commission reports? This commission was not there before 2010. Have you read it? Read those reports. They will tell you the representation in the bureaucracy, in the government.
We did read, but Western, so as you land, what are you calling us to? Can you summarize based on I call you to do this? What do you want us to do?
I didn't interrupt you. So I think in the spirit of good discipline, let me just finish. You don't interrupt me and you expect me to take a different trajectory. Please, let me just make my submission. And if you have something to raise it. Because if you interject like that, it means you find what I'm saying, causing a lot of jitters, which should not be the case. For instance, justice. I've listened to some spaces today and even before, William Ruto is being likened to Idi Amin. Well, I have a problem with that. One, we are minimizing the kind of tribulation that Ugandans went through. We're minimizing when you do that. It's not anywhere close to what Ugandans went through. By the time Idi Amin left power in Uganda, over 300,000 people had been butchered, and many more could not be accounted for, frankly speaking. Secondly, Idi Amin was not a stock character. He wasn't a stock character. He was a very complex figure. But we refuse because he's a buffoon. Oh, he's like Idi Amin. No, he's not like Idi Amin. Those are the things I'm saying. They are part of hate. When you hate somebody, the hate drives you to do very rational things. It's as simple as that. You can't think rationally. When you demonize somebody, demonization of your opponent or your enemy will make you do very rational things. That's